Okay, I'm gonna see how loud this is. I haven't used this microphone setup before. You can definitely hear me clicking though. Okay, this might make a loud noise, I apologize. Okay, now we'll try again. That should sound a little bit better. This might make a loud noise, I apologize. I feel like I'm very loud. You know what? Okay, that sounds good enough. I think I'm going to go with that for right now. And mute myself, take off the headset, and there we go. That's how you do a live stream. Okay, so I think it would be recording at this point. So thank you for watching if you are just joining us, which it looks like there's one of you. And for those of you who are watching after the fact, after this has occurred and been published on YouTube, thank you for joining us, and hopefully you'll stick through for at least a couple minutes. I know that, well, you know that these things are quite rambly, so yeah. Today is June 30th, I think. Yeah, June 30th, 2017, almost July finally. Just gotta update my title as usual. Alright, looks like we're doing good. Broadcasting at 1080p and 30 FPS. It was supposed to be 60, but whatever. There we go. So, a lot of stuff has been happening recently around here, around the office area. A lot of cool projects. I've been very busy at work, which is why you have not seen any of me recently. Other than my little saga of laptop videos, I haven't really had much up here. Not even a tech vlog. So hopefully this will make up for that. I just gotta check my messages before I get started here. Alright, it looks like all is well. I'm just going to assume all is well, and we're gonna go with it. Well, I'll mention that later. So, here we are. By the way, if I'm too dark, people in the comment section on the live stream, let me know. It's very hard to get good lighting in here. If I turn on that lamp over there, it washes out the background. It's almost dark outside, but it looks bright. And if I put the screen up too bright, then my face gets washed out. So, yeah, doing the best I can. Project number one. Not so much a project, I guess, but it was my desk. As you can see, it ends about here, and it used to go on for quite a long time. I've shortened it. I've taken out the corner. Somebody says that the stream looks okay, so okay will do, I guess, for now. It's a stream done by me. I mean, none of my videos are really professional to begin with. So that's good to know. So I took out the corner of my desk with the intention of using the corner for, I don't know, setting up some old crap, setting up my Latitude CPT, putting the iMac in the corner, something like that. That didn't really work out because, well, I don't know, it just doesn't work out. And I know you probably don't give any amount of shit for what I'm saying about the corner of my desk, but basically what it brings me to is I've got the iMac over here. Let's see if I can readjust slightly. Whoops. So that's how it's set up right now. I've got the iMac, the keyboard, and the mouse set up here, and it's very easy to use. I mean, not that it would be difficult to use, but it's in a good spot for dicking around with it, which is really all I do with the iMac anyway. For those of you who don't know, this is I don't actually know, I'm going to turn it on. I think it's a 500 megahertz iMac G3. I've upgraded it to a gig of RAM, which is not, I mean, it's not difficult to do, but finding two 512 meg sticks of PC 100. I don't think it's 133. I think it's PC 100 RAM is not easy. I only just managed to come across a couple sticks and threw it in here. It's running macOS 9.2.2. Was there a 9.2.2 update? It's 9.2. I'm looking at it literally right now. I have a minor issue with it though, and although it works fine, it's very fast, it doesn't turn off or act weird or anything, it does get very hot, and this is partially because I've upgraded the hard drive. The one that was in there originally, I think it was like a 10, maybe a 20 gig hard drive. It was very loud, it was very slow, and I'm pretty sure it was slow because it was failing. So I took everything off and moved it to a 7200 RPM 80 gig hard drive. So it's a lot faster, it's a lot quieter, I can hardly hear the thing, which is nice, but it gets very, very hot. And having the faster of, not the fastest of course, there was a 700 megahertz iMac G3, but one of the faster iMac G3s means lots of heat. And I've kind of tiptoed around the idea of taking it apart, taking the shell off, and then kind of maybe zip tying a fan or securing a fan to the top, because there's the vent on the top for the convection-based cooling, and you could definitely put a fan there to blow some air out. It was an idea, probably won't do it, partially because these iMacs are so difficult to get apart. And even after you've done many of them, I think I've taken it fully apart, 6 of them, like meaning every single thing off of it. After you've done enough of them to know what you're doing, it still sucks. It doesn't go any faster, and I just wasn't up for it. So I'm trying to look at my specs here. There it goes. So yeah, it will stay hot for a while, I guess. It's not like dangerously hot, it's just not as cool as I would have liked it to have been. Somebody asked, is there a fan for the CPU? I could probably put one on there, but one, it would have to be pretty small because there isn't a lot of room. I'd have to figure out how to power it, which might not be that difficult, but I have to do that. And I don't know, it would be small and loud. I lost track of what I said. Small and loud, not enough room. It'd have to be powered, and I'd have to figure out a way to mount it, because there's no mounting holes for a heatsink, even, on the CPU. So I'm not sure what I would do about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'd maybe secure a heatsink with some thermal adhesive. That might work. But then, again, you're stuck with all the heat kind of gathering in the bottom section, and I want that heat out of there. That's what the goal would be. Looking at the Apple System Profiler in macOS 9.2, this is a 500 megahertz PowerPC G3. It's got 1 gig of DDR, or not DDR, of PC 100 memory, and that's all. Not much to say about it. I'm also using, and I found this at a thrift store, interestingly, an Apple Pro keyboard. One of the older ones that came with, I think the Graphite iMacs was the first computer that Apple released that they shipped those with. It's really nice. I love it. It's a lot different from they had different colors. The multicolored, like they had a Bondi Blue and Tangerine. Those iMac G3 keyboards that came with the G3s and stuff. The Pro keyboards are a lot better to type on, although they're still kind of a mush board. They're not really that great. And back when I used these things, in school they had Apple Pro keyboards and the Pro mice with the Graphite iMac G3s. Now, it's probably because I wasn't really a keyboard aficionado back then, but I didn't really notice that the keyboards were so bad to type on. Now, maybe it's because the keyboards have aged, or maybe it's because I have aged, and use better keyboards such as this one right here. But I don't know, they just seem not as good as they used to be. It could be my particular one as well, who knows. But they are nice, especially with the extra controls on them. Not that I use the F13, 14, 15 keys, which kind of odd as a mainly Windows user. But just the extra 4 buttons for eject, for mute, and sound up and down, those are so handy. Mac OS 9 doesn't really handle those volume controls in the way that I like. If I press them right now, you can hear in the background probably that it turns the sound up and down. And this is because I'm sitting at the desktop. I'm not inside of a game. Well, the time that I would want to adjust the sound would be when I'm inside a game, because maybe I can't hear something, or maybe it's a way too loud part of the game. But if you hit down, you can't actually... the sound doesn't adjust until you close out of the game. And after you close out of the game, then you'll hear beep, 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 beep. It turns itself down, which is annoying. But it sure as hell beats having to go to the control strip at the bottom of the screen and drag down the slider and adjust it perfectly. It's a lot easier just to use the keyboard. So Apple Pro keyboard, excellent keyboard. A lot better than these stupid chiclet style keyboards. You know, in 2010, 2012, and I think as late as 2014, these Apple aluminum keyboards, the wireless ones, and the wired ones were pretty much the same. They are actually not terrible, but I've used some of the newer Apple keyboards with the little chiclet keys on them, and they are awful. They are abysmal. You have no feedback of any sort. The keys seem to be closer together, and just, I don't know, the feel of everything is just awful. Without going into too much of a discussion about Apple stuff, I think Apple's really lost their way in terms of maybe not so much build quality, but build quality in some ways. You know, the keyboards are pretty well built, but they just don't feel as premium as an Apple product should. And that was... I'm trying to get the glare not in my glasses. That was one of my complaints about the iPhone 5C, I think it was. It was designed to be cheap. It was designed to be colorful and a little bit more durable, probably. And it was made out of colored plastic, probably polycarbonate plastic. I don't know my plastics. But it just didn't feel very good. You know, a plastic Apple device, like, it's not 2006 anymore, Apple. What are you doing? I don't know. I feel like they've kind of gone back on themselves. You know, for the time, for the early 2000s, plastic stuff just made sense. I mean, it's what you did. All of Apple's stuff back then was plastic. And around, 2005, 2006, when they started iMac G5s, I don't remember when that was exactly, they started with the aluminum base. And the aluminum base was quite a change, in my opinion, from the completely plastic design. It gave the iMac a little bit of rigidity, if not so much physically, which it did, but just, I don't know, in appearance, it just looked more sturdy. And yeah, anyway, I think Apple's really kind of gone downhill, but I said I wasn't going to discuss it, so I'm going to stop it there, unless somebody wants to talk more about it. Getting back to my comments here, somebody says, it seems to be a bad design to not have a fan for the CPU, or for one to exhaust heat from the machine. I agree, and I assume it's because Apple wanted to make a quieter machine, one that sits on your desk and is not noticeable. And I think Steve Jobs said kind of those exact words, probably when the G4 Cube came out, because it was convection cooled. He said, nobody wants to hear the computer running. They want it to run in virtual silence, which means the hard drive is noisy as hell, but the rest of it is quiet. And I think that was kind of their idea with this G3, is to make it as quiet as possible so that it sits there on the desk and you don't even know it's there. And I like that. At least with this replacement hard drive I put in it, I like that I can't even hear it running right now. I appreciate it. But I also, there is something to be said for things running too hot. Take the 2010 iMac, for example, or pretty much any iMac. The fans, I don't think I've ever heard them ramp up on their own. I have to adjust them manually when I do anything like video editing or encoding a video, something like that. And it's kind of a pain, and in my opinion, sort of a design flaw. You know, why would you design your computer to bake itself, just to kill itself with heat? I've taken this exact iMac, this 2010 27-inch iMac, I've taken it apart shortly after I've turned it off, within a couple minutes. And every single thing in this machine is untouchable for the first 5 minutes that you've taken the screen off. Even the screen itself, very, very hot. And it can't be good. It can't be good to have hardware getting that hot. The GPU in it, I'm pretty sure, is failing, and it's not because it's a cheap GPU. It's probably because it's been so hot for its entire life, at least until I decided to manually ramp the fans up, which is what it does now. I just don't understand. It seems spend $2,000 on this computer and it's going to cook itself in 5 years. I don't understand. But anyway, comment says, I would like to see the Apple desktop machine keyboards be backlit like the MacBooks. I also like that. But I feel as though that would be a little too flashy, even for Apple as a kind of show-offy company, in my opinion. I think a backlit desktop keyboard would be... It wouldn't be something that really blends into the desk. Like, it would kind of stick out. I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth. Yeah, it would be extremely cool, and honestly, I might buy one. If they made a wireless version, I'm pretty sure they could figure out how to make a wireless backlit keyboard that doesn't completely drain batteries. But if we've, you know, rechargeable Apple devices such as the Magic Mouse, this is not the rechargeable one, it's the first generation one, we know that they could do better with where they place their charging ports, you know, not on the bottom of a mouse that's supposed to be sitting flat, so you can't use it, is what I'm getting at. I don't know. I think I would be interested in one if they made one, but I don't know. I don't need it, that's the thing. I'm going to be right back. I need to get a glass of water because I am absolutely parched right now. I have returned with some orange drink. It's just peach flavored water. Okay. I'm looking at my actual stream and I can see myself walking back to the computer. I'm a weird person. Anyway, what else is there to talk about? I don't actually know. Back to the iMac G3 briefly. It's running, as I said, macOS 9.2.2, and this exact machine came out of a school in, I think it was York, Pennsylvania. Is that a place? I'm gonna Google it. I'm pretty sure that's a place. York. Yes, it is a place. maybe it was, I had two lots of stuff that came out of a school back when I was like hoarding Apple crap. My Xserve G4s, G5, and RAID enclosure, I think, all came from, what was it, New Bedford, maybe? I'm gonna look up if that's a place. I don't really know. New Bedford Public Schools. I feel like it's in Massachusetts. Oh, yeah, it isn't. It is. So, basically, those places are very far away from me, so I have no idea how they got into my town, but they did, and that's where all of my iMac G3s and my Xserve stuff all came from. So the cool thing about having iMac G3s that came out of a school, for me, is that there's a lot of nostalgia involved. My school used iMac G3s, I think, up until like 2009 or 8. Quite a long time. Into the Intel era of Macs. And eventually they got rid of them, but they were running OS 9 up until 2008. It's a very small public school, so I mean they don't have a lot of money to upgrade, but yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia for the software. So let me give you an example of one of the things that I used to play. There's a game called Bugdom, which is where you run around as this little bug and do crap. Kid Pick Studio Deluxe, best game ever. Lots of memories with that one. And there's some Magic School Bus games, which I don't remember where I played them, but I know I played them. And those are on here. They were just included. Also on here I've got SimCity 2000, because I found it and thought it would be cool to put on there. And Cro-Mag Rally, that was the last one. That's a silly, they're all kids games really, but some of them are still fun. Cro-Mag Rally and Bugdom in particular, and SimCity. Oh hell, all of them are fun. You run around as this little caveman in a prehistoric car, and it's fun and stuff. Question: does the iMac G3 use IDE or SCSI? It's IDE, just a standard IDE hard drive. And I actually have one down here because I swapped it out and it didn't actually solve my problem. The optical drive, which is here, is a very thick slot load optical drive, and I believe that is SCSI of some sort. It's a lot wider than IDE. I think it's a, what, 50-pin SCSI? Is that what they're called? I can't tell. It's from October 2000. The model number is SR8184B. SR8184B. In case you're interested in seeing what it is. But I'm pretty sure it's a SCSI interface that is attached to a normal, I don't know what it's called. It's like it's a short connector. It doesn't really have any pins. You just kind of press whatever you're connecting onto it and it sticks in there. But that's all it is. And then with this adapter on it, which carries power, by the way. It's power and data. So maybe it's not SCSI. Hell if I know. But that's what it is. I got a CD stuck in there. So I'm like, okay, CD drive is going out. It definitely sounds like it's going out. So let's replace it. Flipped the iMac upside down, took it apart, put the new optical drive in it. Then realized, 1, I didn't take the disc out of the old one, which is annoying. And 2, it didn't fucking solve my problem at all, excuse my language. It's still... Let me see if I can show you what it does. So here's the iMac G3. Some more light here. So if I go ahead and press eject, eject, so it's going to be difficult. Oh, you know what? Maybe that drive is bad, because it's not even showing up as having a disk in the drive now. So that's irritating, and I'll probably have to take it apart again, but whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, I had to take that thing apart, which was not a terrible task, but a little difficult. So something else I want to discuss, which I can never tell how many of my subscribers or people who watch are actually interested in this stuff. It's server stuff. Window or just PC based server stuff. I recently purchased a server rack that is, I think, 15U. It's actually an enclosure, so it's not just posts. It has sides on it too. And in that, I'm going to build a little home lab out of the stuff that I have now. And I won't go too much into this because unless somebody actually wants me to talk about it, I assume most of you don't care too much for it. So I won't bore you. I'm going to put probably a couple of Mac Minis and also my Xserve equipment. Now the Xserve stuff I probably won't actually use that much because it uses a lot of power. Oh my god, it uses a lot of power. And it's also just loud and slow. You know, there's not a reason to have it running, but it would be cool to have it in the rack. Also, the Mac Minis I'll be putting in there will probably be running, they'll probably be older ones. The newest Mac Mini I have is a, 2-something gigahertz Core 2 Duo Mac Mini. And the other one is, well, I have 3 of them actually, Mac Mini G4s. They're slow, I mean, they're not very useful, but I could probably use them for something Mac-based, Mac server-based. Because after all, they are low-power machines. They don't use very much power at all. And they're quiet, and they don't produce that much heat. So, what do you guys think I could do with a Mac Mini G4 other than a file server? My file serving needs are much greater than the Mac Mini could ever provide. So something not file server based. Maybe file server based, but for older Macs. That would be helpful. Something that can easily be accessed by Mac OS 8, 9, and early Mac OS X devices. Maybe that would be something interesting to do. I don't know if anyone has any experience with doing that other than, setting up a file share. But if you do, let me know. This water tastes terrible. Not a fan of it. But I'm going to drink it because I poured it for myself. I think I'm going to turn the iMac G3 off. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'll leave it running. It'll add some light on me. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be doing this stream. It looks like it's been about half an hour so far, which is fine. I mean, I intend to be here about 2 hours, but probably not any more than that. My streams, at one point I had like 8 people in them at a time, which, I mean, it's not a lot, but for me it's a lot. And lately I've had like 3 or 4, which is odd. I don't know why that is, if there's any particular reason for that. But I mean, not having a lot of people makes me not as likely to want to continue as long, because why bother? I mean, I know that not a lot of people watch them after the fact. So say I get 40 views in real time on my live stream, I get 80 total about a week later, and then it doesn't get any views after that. So I enjoy it, but if not a whole lot of other people are going to watch it, it's just me talking to myself. So, I don't know. I'll still be going for a while, so don't worry. I know what I was going to plan on doing with the Mac Mini G4 or maybe the Intel Mac. I want to make a security system or something like that. Some sort of camera-based monitoring system. Maybe not so much for security because nothing ever happens around this apartment complex, but just to have it, you know, just to have it recording. So I've got a couple of things that I'm not sure about with that I'll just throw out there in case anybody's ever done something like this before. One is, if I use the Mini G4, is it even capable of recording multiple streams of video at once? You know, is it just going to get bogged down? And two, with the G4, is there any software that supports doing such a thing? I don't know much about it. I'm just kind of getting your guys' ideas. And if I do it with an Intel-based Mac, what kind of software is out there? For maybe, I don't know what I'll do though. See, there's so much that I haven't thought about because it's not really a project that I'm super into. You know, do I do IP cameras? I've done a little bit with IP cameras, but they're kind of expensive and I don't have any. Or do I just do webcams that I somehow plug into the network? You know, USB webcams? I don't know. I don't know what would be the best way to do that. So yeah, if anybody has any thoughts on that, let me know. It's a project I want to do at some point. Somebody says, I watch them all, referring to my live streams. Thank you. I appreciate it. I do this for you. I mean, I kind of do, I guess, but... question, what anime do I like? I don't really care for anime. I watched a little bit of it. I don't even know what I watched, honestly. It was just something that someone referred me to or suggested to me. And I don't know. I wasn't too into it. Maybe if there's something that you think I'd be interested in. I don't really care for fantasy stuff. I don't really care for magic, and I don't know what to call it. I guess fantasy would be how I'd put it. So if there's something that, I don't know, is just anime for the sole purpose of like the storyline, maybe I'd watch it. I don't know. What do you watch? Is there anything you think I'd like? Let me know. I know some people are like super against anime and cartoons and stuff. I don't get that. Like, why bother being against it? Why not just not watch it? People are weird. Comment from, and I'll say your name just because I want to get in the habit of doing that. HBD Gaming says, what's up? I'm a longtime viewer of the channel. Hello. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. Oops. I almost added you as a moderator. Now, it's not that I don't trust you, but I don't know who you are, so I don't really want to do that. And I can't click off of the thing. Okay, there we go. Much better. We're all good. 8 people watching. Awesome. See, I'm glad I did this on a Friday night. Usually I do it at like noon on a Tuesday. Who the hell's gonna be able to watch at noon on a Tuesday? So you suggest Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as a show to watch. I will put that in my... I'll pull it up as a page and then I'll look at it later so I don't forget. Yeah, I mean, I'll look into it. So I'm just looking at the little... If I Google search it, looking at the search results on the side, it says first episode 2009, final episode 2010. But there are 38 episodes, so gives me something to watch. Yeah, I'll give it a shot sometime. Yeah, on a Tuesday. So I'll let you know something. Part of the reason why I haven't put out a lot of videos and don't do live streams often is because I share this room, and I just don't want to be a bother. I don't want to get, I mean, we give each other shit all the time, but I don't want to get judged. Not that I care, I just don't want to hear it. It's all in good humor. Again, I just don't want to deal with it. And I don't know, I don't want his people to hear what I'm saying. I don't want you guys to hear what he's saying, because there's a lot of swearing going on with the gaming. And well, he's gone on vacation until Sunday night, so I've got the house to myself. I had it yesterday, tonight, Saturday, and then most of Sunday. So that's why I'm here right now on a Friday night. I have a comment from Sweden. It's almost 3 in the morning for you. Thank you for watching at such a very early time. It amazes me that I have so many viewers from out of the United States. Most of my viewers are from the United States, but it seems like the ones who interact the most are from over the pond. Across the pond, is that what you would say? There's a lot of people from Sweden, a few people from... one person from Norway, I think. What's another... I can't remember the other place. I want to say it's like a German-speaking area, but I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that comment. Cat's away, Alex is or it's going to play. Fix your comment? I don't know what you mean, sorry. Any tips on building a PC that's oriented for CGI effects and rendering? Not sure where to start. It depends on how deep you want to get into it, and if you're making money off of doing this. And I guess just how much money you have to throw at it. You know, if you make a lot of money and you just want to throw money at this thing as a hobby, that's great. And pretty much buy whatever the highest end stuff you can is. So I don't know a whole lot about this, but I know the NVIDIA Quadro cards are the, what the hell am I trying to say? Quadro cards are like the professional or workstation grade graphics cards. And while it's kind of been debated whether or not you should go with a consumer or a professional GPU for CGI and video editing and stuff, in my personal experience, things like animation work better on a Quadro card. They just do. Games work better on consumer cards. So you should probably get... I like Quadro cards. I haven't really tried any of their high-end stuff, though. So I'd recommend maybe a Quadro card or a professional workstation-grade graphics card. Lots of RAM. In my experiences doing animation at school, doing animation takes up a lot of RAM. I think the iMacs that we use, because we're doing... I mean, it's a learning environment. We're not doing anything too crazy. We did animation on iMacs, and they had, I don't know, 16 gigs of RAM, and we were at about 10 gigs of RAM used, which is an okay amount, but that was basic animation, not anything crazy. So if you're really into it, probably lots of RAM would be great, and I don't know, just a fast CPU. I don't know if a Xeon CPU would really be necessary. It definitely can't hurt, but pretty much just buy the best that you can afford. A CGI and a rendering machine is not going to benefit from any kind of slow part. I mean, there's not much that you can skimp on. Even SSDs are pretty necessary. So, I don't know, buy the best you can. I'm not a pro on that kind of stuff, but that seems like the best thing. Just buy what you can afford. So I see some more suggestions for anime. I will... I put that in my search so I can look at that later. Comment says, I love security system software creation and the art of it. I also like intelligence of it that is formatted for situational awareness. I've had a strong enthusiasm for the subject in the past 3 years. I was actually looking into this the other night. Pretty much exactly what you said. So I'm into what's called a home lab, which is when you have computers and servers set up in your home for, I don't know, whatever the hell you want, really. It's an addicting hobby, I guess I would say. You know, you never stop spending money on it because nothing is ever good enough. But anyway, there's a subreddit for this called Home Lab, understandably, and there was a post on there last night where somebody made a security system. So they had their window, my window's, oh, you can see the window now, it's not washed out. They had the, sorry, I gotta shut this iMac down. I don't want it to like have burn in on the screen. They had a little sensor on the window that sensed when it was open and closed. And they wrote and then published so that other people could have it, a program that runs on a Raspberry Pi that will be able to see when the window's open, and then it sends a push notification to either an Android, I think it was just Android, but probably an iOS device as well. So if you open a window, you get a notification that says office window open, and then you close it, it says office window closed. That's the coolest thing ever, and I really want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to run it on a Mac Mini. I mean, Raspberry Pis are super cheap, and I could probably do it that way. I just kind of want to use what I have. But that would be extremely cool to do. Make some sort of security system, an active security system that monitors things like that. That would be very nice. And while I'm on the topic, I recently discovered that there are such things as network-connected power strips. They're for server equipment. They're called... Fuck, I don't know what they're called. Rack mount PDUs, or power distribution units, that are able to be connected to an Ethernet connection, and then you can monitor them from a console. So you can switch off individual ports on the higher end ones, see what's plugged in, how much power you're drawing. Very cool stuff, and I think that might be my next purchase. Because APC does have an older model that you can get for about $90 on eBay, which is very reasonable. The newer ones go for like $500 US. This one's 90, so I can definitely afford to spend money on something like that. So that will be very cool if I manage to get one of those. Jumping back to the CGI discussion for gaming PCs, or CGI machines. Quadro is really meant for CGI in CAD. Yeah, it is, and I found it... Oh, did I say iMac before when I was talking about rendering? I meant Mac Pro. The Mac Pros had Quadro cards in them. I don't think you can get a iMac with a Quadro in it. Those were what we were using. Going back to the iMac G3, have I thought about putting an IDE SSD in it? I have, and I will probably end up doing that, but not with this particular one. I've been searching for an iMac G3 Graphite. I think it's a 600 megahertz is the highest one, or the one that they usually were. Either 5 or 600 megahertz, not 7, but close enough. And those are the ones that I have the most desire for. I just want a graphite one because I want one. So I would put an IDE SSD in that one because, and a gig of RAM as well, because that's something that, I don't know, I just want one and I want it to be the best it can be. So I will probably do that at some point. I have not an IDE SSD, but I have an IDE compact flash adapter, which probably worked just fine. The problem with it is, though, I like having storage space. Now, the 80 gig drive that's in it right now is way overkill. I think I'm using less than 15 gigs with everything. You know, that's from the previous installation that was on here from the school, my installation, an entire another max hard drive dumped on here. I don't need that much space, but the 4 gig compact flash card that I do have, probably not going to be enough. So we'll see. Just reading my comments now. And I see every comment. If I don't discuss it, I apologize. But if you want me to discuss what you said, and it sounds like a dick move, but I purposely ignored it, let me know. I mean, I'm not ignoring anything for any particular reason. I just don't have anything to say about it. I see the person whose name I can't pronounce left because it was 3 in the morning where they are. So thank you for watching. You probably already left, but thanks for joining us. So you say you've got a lot of papers and research on that subject of, oh, hold on. Well, not on your YouTube channel, apparently. Definitely not on your YouTube channel. A lot of research regarding things that I assume are automation and analytics and stuff like that. It's stuff that really does interest me, but I don't need to know about it just yet. I am in college right now, and I'm learning about other stuff. I'm studying to be a systems administrator, which is what I'm currently doing as a job, and I really love it. I absolutely love the job, but I just don't have time to really learn other things like that. They're kind of in-depth and, in my opinion at least, pretty complicated as far as I understand. But, you know, little side projects like that window opening sensor like I was talking about, or security and surveillance systems, that stuff interests me. And I've also dealt a lot recently at work with scripting, mainly in PowerShell and also Mac OS scripting, so Unix scripting, that, you know, that kind of automation is stuff that is going to definitely benefit me. That's why I'm studying it. I totally lost my train of thought. If you couldn't tell, I just went off on a tangent there. V Westlife says, nice Marky Miller shirt. I actually think I wore this one last time I did a live stream too, but thank you. Unfortunately, this one I'm not going to show you, but it has a hole in the armpit, so I might have to get a new one. You say you want an iMac for video editing. You've ordered a Core 2 quad with 4 gigs of RAM, so you'll have that. I'll get a MacBook Air from school for school stuff. But what student really does that? So I can't really tell if you've already ordered an iMac that's a Core 2 quad. I don't think they had Core 2 quad iMacs. But anyway, iMacs are great, in my opinion. I mean, they're sleek, they're sexy, they fit very well on a desk. But for editing, I don't think I would go out and buy one, personally. Especially newer ones, because the newer ones, not like the newest one, the iMac Pros or anything, but the ones that, you know, 2015, 16, 17, they're basically just laptop components inside of an iMac, and that irks the hell out of me. I really don't like that. you're just paying for the screen with a MacBook strapped to the back of it. And I don't know, something about that just bothers me. So, I don't know. If you're doing video editing, a Windows PC is perfectly fine. I mean, it's a very cheap and perfect alternative to, an iMac. But if you had to go with the Mac, get a Mac Pro. Get an older Mac Pro, because even the older ones, probably not first generation or second gen, but maybe third gen and on. I'm not really familiar with the later ones. They'd be just fine. The cheese grater Macs, not the trash can Macs, the big tall ones like the Power Mac G5 looking ones. I would recommend one of those. You can find them pretty cheap, and they're, some of them are up towards 12 and 16 cores with two 6 and 8 core processors. You know, they're not bad machines, and they're, again, pretty cheap. You want to do video editing on your iPad Pro and see how it works. I couldn't tell you how that might work. I'd be interested to find that out, honestly. I don't know much about the iPad Pro. I know that it's very powerful and everything like that. I don't know if you could even do really... because the video editing isn't that difficult. Isn't too resource intensive. It's the exporting, from what I found, that uses up all the resources. So I mean, I can edit video on this thing without too much of a problem. I can do 4K video on this 2010 iMac, and scrubbing through footage is a little bit stuttery and not as good as it could be, but it can do it. An iPad Pro, though, it's a high-end machine. It's basically a laptop inside of a tablet, but I don't know. I'd be very interested to see how that turns out, though. You say it'll render 4K video, not sure about that. I'm not so sure either. If Apple claims it'll probably do it, it might just take forever, and I would assume you have to have it plugged into the wall. You can't render 4K video on an iPad off of battery. I don't think that would be possible at all. You still daily a Pentium 4 machine? That's pretty impressive. What's it running? Windows 7, 8, 10? I assume it's not XP. Yeah, what do you run on that thing? I'm interested because for a while, up until... I'm going to backpedal a little bit and just mention this. I don't do Windows updates at all on my personal machine, so on my Windows 7 machine, or on my older Windows XP machines. Obviously, they don't have updates for Windows XP very easily. The hell was I just going to say? But I ran... Forget what I just said. It's not relevant. I ran Windows XP up until 2015 on a Pentium 4 machine for, a backup computer. And it worked really well. But as soon as I installed Windows 7 on it, because it's the 32-bit CPU, even though it was hyper-threaded, it was pretty slow, and I didn't even bother to use anything like 8 or 10. Of course, 10 wasn't out at the time, or I didn't have access to it at least, but it would have just been so slow with all the graphically intensive stuff that it had going on. I don't think the Pentium 4 would have been able to handle it very well in my particular machine. You want to run the iMac alongside your PC for editing, but you'll look into the Mac Pro. Yeah, I have nothing against iMacs. 2010 iMac, I think 2012 was kind of the last year for good iMacs. Proper, powerful, just very good machines. There was no compromises for power inside of these things. They had good GPUs, good CPUs, you can actually fit 32 gigs of RAM in this 2010 iMac, unofficially. I have 16 in it now, because that's all I need. You can SSD these things up. I've got 2 SSDs and an optical drive in here, all working just fine. You know, they're great. But if you have a choice, it's probably better. You're probably better off to go with a Mac Pro just for expandability. The 2010s, 2011s, 2012 iMacs, pretty expandable. You can't do much with the CPU because they're kind of firmware locked, as far as I know. But you can do it. You know, if it fails or something, you can at least swap it out. But yeah, look into a Mac Pro. You're running Windows 8.1 on the Pentium 4. Oh man. Oh my god. Windows 8. You know, I never had much of an issue with Windows 8 except for usability. I could never get used to the two interfaces. That's what really killed it for me. But it never did stupid crap. It never crashed. It was really good in my opinion. But I could never use it as a main machine. And without getting too into it, Windows 10, I hate everything about it. It's easier to use than Windows 8. I'll give it that. But I don't want to get into it. I don't want to spark a discussion about that. V Westlife using Windows XP right now. Cool. If I had room for an older machine permanently over here, which I guess I do. I've got the iMac G3 over here. I would definitely have an XP rig over here because I really liked Windows XP. It was a great operating system. It's still a great operating system. And despite what Microsoft seems to think and what other people think, it's a very usable operating system still. You kind of gotta put in some work to getting browsers to work, but it's still an exceptional operating system to use. So yeah, I'm glad that you're still using it. I'll get back to the comments in a moment. I need to go grab a snack because I'm starving, and I'll be back in about, I don't know, a minute. I have returned. And I'm going to try to make this as quiet as possible, but I literally don't have any food ready in the house. I could cook pasta or something, but I need to go shopping. So all I have is granola bar and water. Yeah. But as I was saying, I'll try to be as quiet as possible with this crinkly wrapper and try not to be too gross when I'm eating on camera. So back to the Pentium 4 that somebody said they've got. Running Windows 8.1 still. Or running Windows 8.1, they still have a Pentium 4 is what I mean. For you, it's not that slow. You have the 775 variant of the Pentium 4. Okay. 3.4 gigahertz, so it's quite beefy, and 2 gigs of RAM. So I guess it's not all bad. What kind of GPU do you have in there? Is it integrated graphics, or is it something else? Because I think that was part of my problem with my, it was an Optiplex 3100 or E310 No. Dimension 3100 or E310. Pentium 4 base Dell. That just, it had onboard graphics and no option, unless I put in a PCI, not a PCI Express, but a PCI card. No option for external video, or a video card rather. So, yeah, you put an SSD in your 2008 MacBook Pro and it's great. I did the same thing in a, I don't actually know if it's a 7 or an 8. And it is really nice to have. It's better than a hard drive by far, but it still seems pretty slow. And I'm sure part of this is because it's on a SATA 1, 1.5 gigabit per second bus, which is pretty slow, and it's a SATA 3 SSD. I'm pretty sure that's part of the issue, but it just, I don't know, it seems way too slow. I don't know, is yours slow at all? And also, what operating system do you run on it? I'm running Snow Leopard, as I do on my iMac, and that thing as well. Oh, and this other iMac. I didn't even mean to point. I was referring to the laptop in the other room, but this iMac back there, 2006 Core Duo runs Snow Leopard. What are you running on your 08 MacBook Pro? Somebody says they weren't expecting to see V Westlife here. Honestly, I was kind of surprised that he subscribes to my channel and watches as well. I mean, just, what do you have? 28 something thousand subscribers, I think? I don't actually know because I don't keep track of that thing, and I've only got 1,600. Oh, you've got 46,000 subscribers. That's impressive. I hope the stream didn't just cut out, because I clicked on his channel and then it, okay, we're still there. Whew. Got scared there. But yeah, I appreciate that other people out there like the smaller YouTube channels like myself. You had Windows 10 on the Pentium 3 for a couple days, and then after that you said no. Okay, that's kind of what I was expecting. Windows 10 is a lot more graphically intense than Windows 8 was, despite it being somewhat more simple on the graphic side of things. You've got a Quadro K600 in there as graphics. Okay, so that's quite a respectable machine, it sounds. Michael Tipton's running Sierra on his 2008 MacBook Pro with an SSD. So I've kind of lost track of all of the Mac OSs now. I know up to Lion, Mountain Lion, some things after Mountain Lion. I don't know if, I think that was the last Cat one. Then they went on to like Mavericks and, see, I don't know. I don't even know what Sierra is. Is it 9 or is it 10.9? No, that was Mavericks. I'm gonna Google this. So I know all the older ones, Cheetah, Puma, Jaguar, Panther, Tiger, Snow Leopard, Leopard, Snow Leopard, Lion, Mountain Lion. Then it went to Mavericks, Yosemite, El Capitan, Sierra's 1012. So that is probably the latest official one. Is High Sierra out yet? I don't remember. I kind of feel it's weird, like High Sierra. Is that actual? I know Sierra is. It's a place. It's also a thing. What is a High Sierra? Is that a thing? Is it a place? What is it? I can't be bothered to look right now. That's what it is. Okay, High Sierra is not out yet. That's what I suspected. I So you've got Sierra running on your 08. Is that with some sort of firmware modification? I think I remember there being some guy in one of the Facebook groups. I think it's Colin Meister. Is that? I don't know if that's how you say his last name. Who makes patches so that you can get older Macs working with newer operating systems, because hardware-wise they should be compatible, but they're just locked through firmware, so you can't upgrade some of them. Sierra's High Sierra baked, or is Sierra baked? Lol. Sierra's not officially supported on the 2008 Mac, so I guess we'll see. I'm sure it's definitely possible to run it on there. Might not run very well, but I'm sure somebody will do it. So I'm interested to see that. So we're now at the 1 hour mark, so it's time for our sponsors. No, I'm just kidding, I don't have sponsors. Wouldn't that be good? Colin Meister is DOSDude1. Oh, I didn't know that. I follow him on Twitter, I think. Maybe I don't. Is it just DOSDude? I don't know where I follow him. I feel like I follow that name somewhere. But yeah. So, sidetrack from all the tech talk. I just want to... I like that comment. Tonight's live stream is brought to you by water and granola bars. My life is water and granola bars and coffee. Lots of coffee. I should make coffee. That's what I should do. So I'll sidetrack slightly because they're really pissing me off right now. We got new neighbors, and they are the loudest people I think I have ever heard. And it's not so much their voices that's loud, it's that they make a lot of noise moving around. And I know that sounds petty and that sounds stupid. I'm just, nitpicking stuff, but this is a little ridiculous. Okay, so we've had 2 different neighbors next door. They're in that direction, that's why I'm looking that way. They had kids, it was a family of 4 each time, coincidentally. And, I'd hear them every once in a while, maybe slam a door or do something. But really, I never heard them. These people, I don't know if these kids are actually giants, but all I hear all day is them banging around on the floor. It's like if you walk with your heels really, if you walk with your heels, I guess, or run on your heels across the floor, it makes a loud banging noise. It's that constantly. And I think I'm about to go to complain to the leasing office because I'm a pretty patient guy. I understand noise. I'm not the quietest person here. But this is ridiculous. And it also goes on until 3, sometimes 4 in the morning. And because it resonates through the floor, I can hear it in the pillow, in the bed. So yeah, just if you hear anything going on next door, any banging on the floor, that's what it is. God damn it. So off of that topic, it's funny that you mentioned fidget spinners because I am one of those people who now owns one. This may or may not have been an alcohol-influenced Amazon purchase. It was, and now I have one. It was literally the cheapest thing I could find. It cost me $4 off of Amazon with free shipping from China. And it's terrible, and I don't understand them at all. I just... Yay, I'm spinning it. I don't understand. But now I feel like I have to use it because I spent $4 on it, so not my best purchase. So in case you missed it earlier, I mentioned briefly that I am alone this weekend. My better half is gone on a camping trip. It's actually the first time we've been apart since we moved in about over a year and a half ago now. Year and 8 months. We have never had a night apart. So yeah, excuse me. It's a little bit odd. And he's been gone since Thursday night, tonight, Saturday night, until late Sunday night. So it's odd having it be so silent, but that is honestly one of the reasons why I'm doing this live stream now on a Friday night, because normally it's just too loud in here to do anything like this live stream. There would be too much background noise. So you guys are lucky. Fidget spinners were meant for people who fidget a lot, can't stop moving. I guess I could see it. One of the arguments that bothers me, now I'm no medical professional, but I'm pretty sure that ADHD and other attention disorders can't be cured by doing this. So many people say, oh, these things are magic, they really cure my ADHD, they help it so much. I can maybe understand helping, because, you know, you can fidget, you can have something to do. But the Amazon listing that I bought this from, it was titled, excuse me, a fidget spinner, something, ADHD, anxiety reducer, cure. Like, just a totally bogus title, and I feel like that's why people are buying these. And again, without being, I don't want to start an argument, but there's a lot of people out there who self-diagnose things like ADHD. They say, oh, I'm so ADHD, I like shiny things. Well, no, you just like saying that you are. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people who actually have a legitimate issue. They have attention disorders, they have anxiety. I have anxiety, very bad anxiety. I take medicine for it. This does absolutely nothing to help me stay calm. But I guess I get the idea behind it. I just don't like how people claim that it cures things when it doesn't. And of course, as I'm saying that it's stupid and I don't like it, I'm sitting here spinning it without even thinking of it. I'm putting it down, not looking at it anymore. You suggest to buy Play-Doh. I actually bought a bunch of Play-Doh last year, I think, coincidentally, and I played with it for a while. It was cheap Play-Doh. I think it was like Rose Art brand. It was off-brand. And as we know, Rose Art is terrible. If you use a Rose Art crayon, you might as well just be drawing on a piece of paper with a booger or something. I mean, they just don't feel right. Crayola stuff is the way to go. And Play-Doh is no exception. Actual Play-Doh brand Play-Doh is a lot better than the Rose Art crap. But I actually much prefer, if I were to do something like that, have something to like work with my hands, I would prefer Legos. And I actually have a lot of Legos in the back room, or in the corner of the living room. Legos are just great. You know, I like being able to build whatever I want. So I will sidetrack a little bit again. Oh, yes, Hasbro brand is who makes Play-Doh, right? Play-Doh brand Play-Doh didn't sound right. I think you're right. Man, every time I eat that granola bar, I lose what I was talking about. And then I choke because that's apparently just what I'm doing today. Oh, I remember what I was saying. So Legos. When I was growing up, my grandmother would always buy me Legos. And it's the reason why I have so much. And for a while, she started buying me Lego sets. But as a kid, I never really got into those because I didn't want to follow the instructions. I just want to build whatever I want to build. And then she bought me a big tub of just assorted Legos, and that was the best thing ever. I love being able to do whatever I want with any Lego piece. Build houses. I build a lot of square stuff. It's Lego, obviously, but I don't like building like super intricate stuff. I like building houses. I like building cars. It's just fun. What else do we have to talk about? By the way, just because I'm trying a new setup, how is the audio in this particular live stream? I'm using the Blue Yeti, which I've had for ages now. I never really use it, just because I don't have a spot for it on my desk. But I've got it set up here, and I have it configured in what I think is a pretty good way. And it should sound very clear. There shouldn't be a whole lot of background noise. It's sitting next to the PC, so there's going to be some, but it should sound alright. My pet peeve, though, is that it picks up everything, so if I click, you can hear that. If I hit a keyboard key, you can hear that. But I'm going for quality here. You say, great audio, very clear. Awesome, that's what I'm going for. The video, I know it leaves something to be desired. This is actually a 1080p webcam, and I don't quite know why it looks that I'm in probably maybe 720p or maybe 480. It's definitely not 1080p. Maybe it's because it's dark in here. That's probably what it is. Come on. There we go. Lego is one of the only toys that has never changed over the years. I read about that. They've been using the same, I don't know, like the same formula, the same type of plastic. It's an ABS plastic, but it's made in a special way that is special. I don't know. But yeah, I did you hear that? You hear that banging noise? That's the neighbors. God, I hate them so much. They drive me crazy. And I don't mean to offend anyone or to be rude. And I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to get into it. But it doesn't matter. I don't like them. Just because they're annoying. What was I saying? Oh, Legos. So old Legos, they feel, after 30, 40 years, because I had some older ones at some point, they feel when you snap them together, take them apart, exactly the same as new Legos, which is amazing. You know, you can't say the same for a lot of things. A lot of things change their recipe over the years, but Lego is one of those things that is just still really good. Somebody asked, am I active on my Twitter page? Not really. Yeah, not really at all. I only follow just a handful of people. I follow 53 people, most of which don't post anything. I somehow have 40 followers, and I don't know who most of them are, so I assume they're from YouTube, but I don't put anything on there. I retweet a couple things that I find funny every once in a while. A lot of corgis, a lot of dogs. But that's about it. And a lot of funny political stuff. Like, I'm sure most of you watching, and if you're not, I apologize. This is just my opinion. Most of you out there are also not Trump supporters. If you are, again, I don't mean to offend you, but it's my live stream. I'm going to talk about it. I don't like him very much. And there's a lot of funny GIFs and stuff where they just kind of make fun of them. And I repost a lot of that stuff, the good ones that I think are funny. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you're more than welcome to, but honestly, I don't post anything, so not really a point. Uh-oh, it looks like we have frozen. Maybe? I don't know. My stream froze on my end. Interesting. Whatever. I'm back now, so that's good. I'm out of granola bar. Worst day ever. I had something else to discuss, but I don't remember what it was anymore. Great. I just spilled water on myself. So much water. What the hell was I going to talk about? I know what it was. Turn it around. What the hell? Panasonic Tough Book. So I've had this for ages. I saved it from the recycling probably like 6 years ago now. It's a CF M34, and it is in absolutely terrible shape, and it doesn't work, which is another thing. You can see the keyboard is a totally disgusting color. All the keys are yellow, and some of the keys are, I mean, by design they're gray, but they're also yellowed. So the keyboard also doesn't work. It's had water spilled on it. The screen is cracked, doesn't work. The motherboard is shot. The battery doesn't work. There's no hard drive. There's like 256 megs of RAM. And the power jack's broken. So this thing is unfortunately toast. It has a nice little handle. So I need to figure out something to do with this. I want to do something cool, probably more than likely destructive, because it's not even worth selling it for parts. In working condition, they sell for about 40 bucks. This has almost nothing working on it. The touchpad works, I guess, maybe, but it's not worth selling for parts. So I want to know what to do with this. It's a nice chuck it at the neighbors. I like the way you think. You got me thinking bad thoughts now. Don't do that. It's a solid brick of a machine. Like, there's no flex in it, obviously. It's just a really nice, solid feeling laptop. So, you know, maybe I'll run it over with my car or something. I don't know. I don't know what to do. But I just don't know. It's been sitting here under my desk for couple months now, just waiting for me to do something with it, because it's not fixable and there's nothing I can do about that, and it's just, I don't know, but there it is. Attempt to take it apart on live stream. I might do that at some point. I might disassemble it for a live stream thing. Yeah, I think I'll do it after I destroy it, just to see what broke after I do my destructive thing. I feel like running it over with a car is what's going to happen. Not that my car weighs a whole ton, but I think that might be fun. I think that's what I'll do. Somebody says, recycle it at the tech bin sometime when they announce that service in the newspaper. I actually work, I don't know if you know this or not, I work at a computer repair shop. It used to be full-time, but now it's just on Saturdays. And they take stuff for recycling. So if I were to recycle anything, I'd probably take it there and get rid of it. I don't get any money for it, obviously, but You know, it's a place to get rid of it for free. Or I could take it to work. I work at a college as well, and they've got an electronics recycling bin that I could toss it into. So use it to level a table or furniture. Not a bad idea. I thought about using it as a doorstop, but I don't really need a doorstop in this apartment, so that didn't really work. Oh my god, guys, I know exactly what I could use it for. I'm going to go and try it, and I'll be right back and I'll let you know how it works. And I'll also take a picture of it. Alright, well, I didn't get a picture of it, and I'm not sure if it'll work yet, but I am going to use it to level furniture. So, I've got an IKEA coffee table. It's a really, excuse me, I got hiccups. It's a really cheap coffee table made out of just cardboard, really, and I've got it in the living room with games and game consoles on it, and it bows. I think if I take the handle off this, it will be the exact height that I need to stick like in the middle, kind of in the back, and prop it up so it doesn't sag. So I think I actually just found a use for this Tough Book, which I think is just the best thing ever. I think that's what I'll do, actually. Someone says you could run that laptop over with his car, a 96 Saturn SL2, and it would destroy the car before the car destroys it. You are not wrong. You're not wrong. Tough Book would probably hurt the car. I've heard what they can withstand. Yeah, that's why I'm interested to do it. You know, I've got, it's a 2004 Acura TSX. It's a little sedan. I think the curb weight of it is about 3,000 pounds, so it's 1.5 tons in US measurements. And by comparison, I just happen to know this, a 2011 Chevy Cruze, which is a car over here in the States, I don't know if other people have it, it's just a 4-door sedan, weighs 4,500 pounds. So my car is pretty light, but I'm interested to see, you know, if anything will come of running over that Tough Book with a little car. You know, it'll be interesting. Yes, I'm actually leveling furniture with a Panasonic Tough Book. That's what we do around here. We, in fact, I kid you not, I have a bunch of dead hard drives propping up the middle of the bed, because the bed frame is one that, like, slides together, so you can make it in for a full bed, a twin bed or something, and or a twin, a full, and a queen bed, I think. And, the center of it kind of sags a little bit, so I have the metal bars propped up, I kid you not, with dead hard drives. I'm actually going to take a picture of it because I want you to believe me. So I got the picture. It's not the best, but it should do the justice. Of course, it is very dark under the bed, and I use my flash. But I'm literally using Let's see if I can zoom. Dead hard drives, and you can see, there we go. So there's dead hard drives, and then on top of it is the bed frame. Actually using them to prop up my bed. So there's that. If you tried Toughbook versus Smart Car, it would probably total the car. Well, I mean, that thing is pretty small, but a smart car, it's a lot bigger than a smart car. So, yes, it probably would. Try a railroad crossing. Or, sorry, I'm trying to read two comments at once somehow. Railroad crossing or change the leveling once going over a bridge. Intriguing. Well, I'm glad you guys are giving me ways to get rid of this thing. From what it sounds like, it's going to do more damage than damage is going to be done to it, but, you know. At my parents' house, I went there a couple weeks ago to retrieve some stuff just to bring it here. And I found that I had a Mac Mini set up there just as a little server to have. And unfortunately, the mouse that was with it, which is a Magic Mouse that I have here, had the batteries blow up. And they went everywhere. I mean, it's bad. They sat for so long that this back plate is almost see-through now. It corroded away so much of the back plate that, yeah, I mean, you could almost put your finger through it. I'll try to show you that there, if it'll focus. Maybe? Well, it won't really focus, but you get the idea. It's in pretty bad shape. And if we look in here, well, I don't know, there's no point in doing it. It's not going to focus, but the contacts are all very corroded, and it's pretty bad. So I've taken it apart once, but I'm going to have to take it apart again because it doesn't seem to be working. I don't know if it's dead. It could be dead. I don't know. It sat for like a year like that, but I guess I'll just find out in a little while. You say, I just noticed a little arrow in my taskbar and there was like 12 LAV icons. What's LAV? I feel like I know what that is. Try soaking it in Coke? Is that a thing? Is that a thing that people do? Probably not going to try that. But I'm interested now. I would just give it a... I mean, the thing about that mouse is that you can take it apart. You can physically, like, take the pieces and open it, but you can't separate the pieces. They're all stuck together. I mean, because it's the Magic Mouse and it's magical, there's a touch sensitive thing underneath the surface of it. I don't even know what to call it. But it's connected via a ribbon cable that is soldered onto a board, which is directly connected to the battery terminals. So I can't take off the battery terminals and board and clean it without risking getting water inside the mouse, and then inside that little touch strip, and that wouldn't be good. Cola has acid, so think of how it affects teeth. Yeah, for real. I try not to drink soda anymore. I mean, every once in a while, if I go out to a restaurant, there's a nice barbecue restaurant near us. Sometimes if we go there, I'll have soda, just, treat myself, but I don't have soda in the house, actually. I'm pretty proud of that. I've also, I'm a skinny white boy, but I've also lost like a couple of pounds, 2 pounds, since I stopped drinking sodas. as of a couple of weeks ago. Might be coincidental, but, you know, it's definitely not a bad thing. You said, someone says, I would desolder to those wires and soak it in Coke for like 5 minutes. Can't desolder it. Or at least I don't have the skill to. It's a ribbon connector. Let's take this apart on camera, shall we? I need to get my tool. That's what she said. So I don't remember 100% how to do this, but it's already not working, so we're gonna YOLO it. I'm pretty sure you just put in a plastic prying tool. There we go. We popped one corner up. And these were surprisingly, I didn't think you could take these apart at first. But they're not that hard. So there's two. There's two. Come on. This came apart a lot easier the first time, if I remember correctly. Crap, I snapped it back together. This is the worst. Oh, I broke the plastic tool. God damn it. I am determined, though. I am going to get this. Maybe I will use something else. I can't find the something else, though. Oh, for fuck's sake. Bring the basket of tools over here. So I've got my guitar pick, which is one thing. And then... aha! The beefier guitar pick, the one that's actually good. So that should pop it off nicely. There we go. See, when you use the right tools, which I really don't do, things just work better. Although, fucking hell, this is very difficult to get apart. Can I just break it? Is that a thing that I should do? I don't think it is. Aha. That one was really on there. Alright, last side. Ooh, there's a lot of corrosion coming out of it. Alright, so we've got it popped open, and then we can take the bottom portion, I think. I thought. How the hell? So it's open. Oh, there's a little... maybe it's not soldered. Maybe I lied. I thought it was soldered at the time. I need to use my light. This is a lot more work than I was expecting to do in this live stream. But now I'm determined. I can see that it's... yeah, screw it. I don't want to do this right now. It's one of those ribbon connectors that you pop up like an entire side of it, and then you can release the ribbon. But, not worth it right now. I am just a mess. Alright, we're going on an hour and 45 minutes. I think I'm going to end it soon. So if you got any more questions or discussion stuff, let me know. And then I got to go out and buy some groceries because I have nothing to eat in the house. Yeah, those connectors are such a pain in the ass. And if you break them, you might as well just throw out whatever you broke it off of, because they're not easy to fix. Or you could tape them down. Tape them down would work too. Well, thank you for watching. I'm glad that you appreciate that I did a stream. I really enjoy doing it, so I'm glad that y'all watched. Fidget spinner. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions, so with that, I thank the people who are here now for coming and commenting and interacting and all that fun stuff. I appreciate it. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you for sticking around this long. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have any plans for videos in the next couple weeks, so it'll just maybe be a tech vlog or two, kind of off the cuff stuff, but keep your eye out for those. I will be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'll just be busy. So I'm going to end it here, and thank you all for coming, and we'll see you in the next live stream or in the next video. Peace. I did that last time. I did a really awkward peace sign. Did it again. Deal with it. Alright, now I'm going to end it.